If you know what's good for you, you'll follow us on Rumble. Let's talk about Xbox layoffs, the end of physical media, the Odyssey, and more on today's Week in Culture.
Welcome to the Week in Culture. Welcome to the Week in Culture. Welcome to the Week in Culture. We push back, push back.
You know, that intro feels like a Saturday morning cartoon intro to me
Right.
from like the 80s. But hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Arcade. My name is Brian. I'm here with John, the problematic white guy, and this is the Week in Culture, our weekly cultural news podcast where we talk about what's going on culturally and, like, you know, try to dig a little bit deeper into the sort of like normal whinging about like what's wrong with everything, and we try to like figure out why that is and also offer some alternatives if possible. So hello, John, how are you doing?
Oh, awesome as always. As I was saying to you right before we began, I've got a new PC finally after seemingly like 2 years of nonstop turmoil of broken equipment and whatnot. So I'm just reveling in getting everything all set up so I can actually start working on a whole bunch of projects that I've just had sitting, idle for the last year and a half or so. So I'm ecstatic, it's definitely a lot has been going on in the gaming space to get into, so we got quite a lot to talk about today. So let's fucking go. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
I hope you're well as well.
Yeah, I am well. You know, like it's just, I don't know. It's sort of like everything seems to be in a constant state of transition, but I think that I'm getting along just fine. We are doing well here. Thank you. And yeah. Well, with all that said, though, let me just give a shout out to you guys. I don't know how long this show is going to be. It might be a shorter one because I only have a few topics, but we could end up talking about them for a while, and I'm okay with, you know, wherever that goes. And if you guys have any feedback on anything, please leave me comments in the live chat. I will read them. I always go through them in between every story. And if you send a super chat or a Rumble rant or something like that, that's even better. And but again, you know, no pressure. Do what you want to do. And thanks for joining us on the show. So this week we're going to be talking about there's the stuff going on with the games industry is in fact like becoming, let's say, impossible to ignore with lots of big shifts going on. We're going to talk about what's going on with Microsoft and all the layoffs and various studio closures, or at least potential closures, or restructuring that's going to be going on there. We're going to be talking a bit about Sony's, let's say, removal of physical media, and like they're going to be going full digital. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the Odyssey and more. So, you know, come stay, hang out, grab a coffee, or whatever you did on a Saturday morning. If you're like when you were a child, you know, get your bowl of cereal, your junkie cereal, and pour a bowl out for yourself. And let's get into it. Who pours a bowl out? I'm sorry. I'm just. Let me see what some of you guys are saying, and then we'll get into the stories. So Master Groa says it does feel like a Saturday morning cartoon. It should be twice as long, though. Yeah. I mean, it took a little bit of work to do that, and I know that I was using AI, so obviously it's not like I didn't sit there and grind out every frame, but it does take a lot of work to get like something that flows decently. I'd like to do something better, but I can't afford like Seed Dance or whatever, which probably be like the best thing. I know that there's a really incredible account on X called Psyop Anime,
Hmm.
and they make these like whoever runs it, they make these short, like 30 seconds to a minute long. Some of them are longer though. Uh, they're like short animated clips that have this like old like anime style, like you might get out of like Madhouse, like the studios that did like Ninja Scroll,
Hmm.
Biohunter, um, and Angel Cop, stuff like that. And it's very, very well done. But they're using Seed Dance, and Seed Dance seems to be like, at least from what I've seen, it's probably the most convincing AI tool for making like animations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's very, very Chinese. Like it's so. This is one of the reasons why we have to compete. By the way, in the Chinese market, because they're they don't have no scruples about what they're willing to do to like win the AI arms race, as it were. But anyway, yeah, CDAN's a really impressive tool, and but it costs money. So, and we're gonna talk a little about AI later today, actually,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
there's something going on with game development that's related to that as well. So, all right, let me see what you guys are saying. But yeah, I think it'd be like I have like the full song for the intro, but I don't have an animation to go with it, so I had to like trim it down so it was
Right.
long enough for, because I don't want people sitting there waiting for like a full intro to play. Not knocking it, just saying it ends too soon. Well, no, I appreciate that. Uh, Gabriel says Weekend Culture OP extended cut 4 minutes 20 seconds. Did you see the vid I dropped in Discord last week that equated the end of USAID funds to rap falling off the charts? Yes, I did, and well, we could talk about that. That's actually a really good topic, because I did talk a little bit about the music industry
Hmm.
when I saw the interview with Billy Corgan, the front man for the Smashing Pumpkins, and he was big in the '90s, and he was
Yeah.
doing an interview, and he was talking about how the 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 industry is curated. And I mean, I knew this was true because every creative industry has people trying to curate it, and in many cases it's successful. And so what I mean by curated is it decides what the trend is going to be. It comes top down. It's not like the people just happen to like gravitate towards a certain artist or a certain kind of music. It's forced on us from the top. But that doesn't mean that every popular artist or band or whatever is artificially let's say they artificially rise to the top, because the truth is it's a mix of like top-down influence to some degree, but also those same people reacting to trends and trying to like chase them. And so, yeah, I think that it's no surprise that. Well, maybe we'll get to that later, because I don't
Yeah.
want to speak out of turn.
Yeah.
I don't have all the research in front of me, but or
Best case scenario, there will be a mix. You're always going to have some level of, I guess, bozo, like kind of like fuckery, kind of clown show antics
Yeah.
of projected whatevers. But in a more kind of natural setting, you'd like to think that there will be legitimate people that just kind of, the moment happens and lightning strikes, and it's like,
yeah,
yeah. You don't want to think that we aren't in a full blown Truman Show reality just yet. Getting
not
ever
yet.
closer all the time, but yeah, there are still instances of things that just legitimately just seemingly happen of their own virtues and wills at play, rather than being composited into place.
Yeah, but we'll get to that one later.
But
So
yes,
let's see what else you guys are saying. Mascaro says Psyop anime is good. Yeah, I like watching. I don't even like. I just think they're really well made. I know that they're often like speaking to current news events, but that makes it fun. But like, I just think that they're really well made. Like, I think that what that guy's got going on, and I think they're going to be making like a movie or a series. People are like begging for it. A lot of people are using AI to do some pretty amazing things, but they're like small individuals, that just happen to, I guess, be willing to invest the money because it costs some money to make these things, to make some truly like creative and almost pretty much inspiring content. There's also another channel called Gossip Goblin that does really good, like just weird, like science fiction, almost like like French comics, like French comic books, like Mobius, those kinds of things.
We were.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I was just saying we were getting to the point right before the Rampocalypse bullshit happened, where had that not taken place, we were basically at the threshold where if you wanted to spend $5,000 to $10,000 on PCs rather than a PC, because because of the price and everything. Yeah, like for $5,000 to $10,000, we were getting to the point where you could have just made like an AI works like a little bot network of AIs just running in a node, similar to like rendering farms that we used to use back in the day, but just have like a little render cell of like 4 or 5 AI driven PCs in a cluster. And I think that's in some ways I think that's part of the reason why they also kind of push the price up on everyone too, is just a way to kind of like slant the table and keep that barrier of entry much higher so that can freeze out competition and whatnot. So
yeah. I don't. That's another story too. The RAM thing. We might get into that too. So let's see. Mastergoa says, I also found this guy that is making his own kind of weird clown superhero. Are you talking about Misdemeanor or something like that? I've seen that online too. It's very good. Sea Dance 2 is the best available right now. Yeah. Sparta Guts 1630 says, doesn't help we have a geriatric pedophile president. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you caught up to the latest news? Joe Biden has been president since 2024. All right. Well, thank you for your comments. Hello, Toasty with the Mosey 69. He says, hi, guys. Norwegian says, I usually skip breakfast and went straight to the cartoons as a kid. Oh, Mischief. That's right. Yeah, it's Mischief. Yeah. Yeah, those are good, too. I actually didn't know they were AI at first. I thought it was like some new show that people were putting clips out of. So, well, okay. Thank you all for your upfront commentary. We're going to get into the stories because there's a lot to cover. So let's do it. So first, we're going to talk about Xbox and Microsoft. So let's see here. I got my notes. Yes, Microsoft announced major. What was that?
I see. There's some interesting developments that came out of this.
Microsoft has announced major layoffs and restructuring for Xbox on July 6, 2026, cutting about 3,200 jobs, which is about 20% of the gaming division. Through fiscal year 2027, with 1,600 eliminated immediately. This is part of a broader Microsoft reduction of about 4,800 roles, mostly in Xbox and commercial sales. New Xbox CEO Asha Sharma described it as, quote, the most significant restructure in Xbox history, noting the business is not healthy, with margins 3 to 10 times lower than peers and losing 64 cents a dollar invested in many studios. Prominent changes include the retirement of longtime COO Dave McCarthy, who was with Xbox for 17 years, and the promotion of Helen Chiang, Mojang Minecraft veteran, to COO with end-to-end P&L responsibility. Departments and teams hit hardest include platform hardware, platform and hardware, which has grown bloated despite declining player metrics. Various support and middle management layers, flattening from the up to 14 to max 5, and cuts across Activision, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. Specific studios like id Software saw heavy impacts, reportedly gutted to Doom 2016 size. The reasoning centers an overexpansion, underperforming bets on Game Pass, multi-platform, and broad studio portfolios, a tough hardware market, and the need to refocus on high-priority projects for profitability and growth. As part of this reset, Microsoft is divesting studios. Compulsion Games and Double Fine are going independent with their IPs. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs are sold with funding for Senua and State of Decay 3. Arcane enters strategic review. No announced first-party games are canceled. I saw like a post by one of the guys that worked for id Software, and he was actually really happy with this change. So I think that like it doesn't sound good, like in terms of like what has Xbox lost, but I think that they are. Well, I think that they're rightfully trimming fat in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is an interesting thing because it is necessary in the sense that they have effectively been keeping up appearances for the last 15 years. This goes back to basically the launch of the Xbox One and the debacle that was, and the way that they completely fucked up everything. Oddly enough, based around the concept of digital ownership and leasing right acquisitions involved in gaming. It's kind of funny how that's coming up again, but yeah, like they completely went off the rails all the way back then at Xbox. Effectively, have just been throwing money at the problem, trying to stabilize it, and while simultaneously also ruining games through homogenization and having more of these kind of corporate types seemingly like. This is the thing about the game industry. It doesn't make any goddamn sense for the people that are invested in it. It was already working, well established. You had creative entities, people that were driven by passion and just like interesting endeavors they wanted to do. And so the money people get involved, and rather than just like say, here's money to invest, keep doing what you're doing, and we will reap the profits, and this will be great for everybody. They started trying to tell people, hey, look, we know you have like your little creativity or whatever here, but look at us. We're business people. We're professionals. We know what the fuck we're doing. And so and that was kind of like the push towards the homogenization, along with all the HR directives and like all the so like we end up in this weird state of fuckery where they promote a whole bunch of stupid bullshit initiatives into gaming that nobody fucking wants. People aren't buying the games, like so like it's simply like a matter of necessity that the fact that they have been able to get rid of as much glut as possible, still not shut down any of these studios during this round, because they already went through and they got rid of their DEI developer rounds. They did that like last summer, if I vaguely recall, somewhere in the like, because I remember talking about it because the one chick that I went to college with who was going to move over to Ireland and found out like within 12 hours of her trip that was not going to happen because the whole thing was Rero games. But yeah, it's like on one hand, this is actually a good thing because it's necessary for just the state of fuckery that has to be unfucked. And there's still a lot more that has to go along with it. However, along with all of this, Asha Sharma is still, very much a questionable entity. And the fact that she's now involved with the Federal Reserve on an AI board does not bode well for like anything either. So like it is a mixed bag to say the least. But one of the interesting bits of news though is Obsidian, because Bethesda won't get off their ass and get things moving forward. Obsidian has been tasked with they've been mandated to make a new Fallout game as soon as possible, at the cost of canceling development on Avoid 2. So I'm not really holding out much hope that we're going to end up getting another modern classic from Obsidian in the vein of New Vegas.
No. I know that people are saying, "Oh my God, we're finally gonna get a new Fallout." And well, New Vegas, they had looks like they're being tasked to get it out as fast as possible.
Yeah. And
New Vegas was made like
that might actually
faster
be
than
the
normal.
saving grace. That oddly enough, that might actually be the saving grace because they won't have enough time to put in all their stupid fucking self-indulgent.
Well, and they
bullshit.
also don't like, because the thing is that when you add in this kind of like the wokeness usually bloats the project, like makes it more expensive, and I think that if they're like on like a really tight schedule, they might like just have to make it really streamlined,
and maybe that'll
work in its favor. I don't know.
To make good Fallout games is they always have to be made under the gun, and you don't have enough time to actually do it, and you just let the community ultimately finish building it.
I think that overall this is a good move. I don't. I think that like the studios that were, I guess they're letting them go. I don't know how else they're saying they're going independent. No, they're letting them go. They're probably not going to make games anymore, like compulsion games. Double Fine. I know that Schaefer has connections. He's probably going to work out something, to make more games. But they're not going to be like under the, the Microsoft Xbox umbrella anymore. And I mean, I think overall it's good. I think that like this is where things were going to go. I guess what it comes down to is like all this stuff is happening, and I think this is also going on at PlayStation as well. And I think that the PlayStation story we have is also happening at Microsoft, but the PlayStation story is getting the attention because of the words that were used. So I think that across the board, both of these, let's say gaming titans are experiencing like a serious need to restructure. Like the games industry is not doing well, and mainly it comes down to what I've been saying for years. They spend too much money on unnecessary things, and they try to exploit or pass the costs for all that money that they spent on those projects. They try to pass those costs along to the consumers, and the consumers are like, no, we're not doing that. Like, and they're going to be, it's going to be difficult for them to like anticipate what the customers are going to want. So what they're doing is they're leaning on like, well, what have they always bought in the past? That's why they're saying, let's get a new Fallout out there. Or, I mean, they're bringing back Gears of War. They're doing Halo campaign,
which is the sad thing, because this is exactly what they should not be doing, right? Because like this is why it's all so set to fail all the more, because they've been throwing good money after bad, and like chasing down situation and trying to correct a thing they never had to before. It was one of those things where before they didn't have to fake it, right? And now they got now because of all the homogenization and the corporatization of things, these are people that are, hello children, this is the game industry has become Steve Buscemi trying to pretend like he's still one of the kids in high school, and that's the fucking problem, is because like going and on a nostalgia run of oh, this stuff worked before, so it's still a viable property. You can have that to a degree, but if you lean on that too heavy, we saw like you're not planting, if you're not planting seeds for the future, making current stuff and constantly just making new things, then you're effectively, you have a death of creativity that's going to ultimately, present itself, which is what has happened, because when they spent their time in the market trying to say, all right, so men are already captured audience, we don't have to worry about them anymore. The chuds are just going to show up. At least that was their plan during the course of the last 10, 15 years of all this fuckery of trying to co-opt in women and basically churning out the same old stories that they've done before, but women, right? And so like that's the thing, is like they're just trying to go through the motions of doing stuff that's safe, which that is the very kind of mindset that brought us to this place to begin with. And so it's like the way to fix this is to get back into just standing back, giving people money who actually know what the fuck they're doing. They're interested in creativity and not ideological fucking, messaging getting in the way. People who just want to make games that have flow states that are fun and interesting and are kind of like, crass, like, a little rough around the edges, but like they're talented, like the people with high levels of talent, skill, and ability in abundance, with legitimate personality and character, and like just actual people. And we got to get out of like this just overly kind of just curated kind of system that was built around an idea of basically trying to I don't know, like codify creativity, and that's not how creativity works. And so like just a fundamental disconnect, and that has over the course of the last 10, 15, 20 years of galvanizing the corporate structure around gaming has undermined the very fundamentals of even why they wanted to invest it in the first place. And so like they've completely been misguided throughout the entire effort, and so even now in the correction, they're still relying on the bullshit that caused the schism to begin with. So it's hilarious. It's going to provide more moments like this.
Well, this is actually the real test of whether, like, the real test to see when they did all these firings, did they fire the right people? Because we'll to see where it goes from there. But I think this is interesting too. This is from Digital Foundry. It's an excerpt from the article about this, where they said, and I think this is the thing, when you're looking at what the journalists are going to say, they're generally in favor of the activists keeping their jobs. And so like if anything results in people losing their jobs, they're gonna act as though the thing is a tragedy in the broad sense, like, oh, it's so unfortunate so many jobs were lost, without asking, well, wait, are the people who are losing their jobs people who should lose their jobs because they were actually making the project more expensive, they were making it a pain in the ass, they were like, causing problems, they were trying to like fundamentally alter the actual like DNA of the franchise that they were involved with, or were they actually like hard workers that were like getting shit done, right? So depending on who you let go, it's going to determine where your company goes right from there. And this is what Digital Foundry, and of course the journalists are on the side of the activists, right? So this is what Digital Foundry said specifically about the id Software cuts, because I think that the cuts over there are you get like a bit of a better look at like potentially how they were doing the restructuring for these other companies as well. If they did this with id, they likely did this with like other companies. Is it a Obsidian or a Bethesda, or both? I don't know.
They both Bethesda and Obsidian have had some, like just about every company that is connected has had some degree of cuts at this point in time.
So okay, the id Software cuts feel especially damning. So they're saying, oh, this is awful, given the wealth of engineering talent responsible for id Tech and the critical success of the 3 Doom games released in the past 10 years. The studio just also contributed its engine and expertise to other Xbox projects over the years, making it hard to believe that the studio was a net negative to the brand in an industry where Unreal Engine games have become the norm and bespoke engines are a prized rarity. But here's the thing. The actual guy, one of the guys that worked with id, that was one of the people they left on, said that the team is now the size it was when they put out Doom 2016. And I think that Doom 2016 was an amazing game. Like I know that, what was the one after that? Doom
Eternal.
Yeah. I know that a lot, like Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, they're kind of like on par with each other. But I kind of like Doom 2016 more in a way, because it's a little bit more, I don't know why, but it just feels like more like the old Doom than Doom Eternal does. Doom Eternal has more like The mechanics
was-
are a little different. It's like, oh, you got to pick up these the ammo
Right.
for this. You got to do these certain kinds of attacks to refill these meters, and I get that like the purpose of it is to improve the flow state, the flow of the game, because you can like go here, do this, go there, and then you can do a lot of really great let's say clip farming with that. But I think Doom 2016 was perfectly like great as it is, and it's
The
likely the
balance.
case that these guys can continue to give us really good Doom games without all of this other noise of these employees that have no business being there. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Doom 2016. That one seems a little bit more kind of like, it's like a hard rocking like just EP, and then Eternal is kind of like more of just like the actual like, oh well, here's the full LP release of it. So like it's got a little bit more kind of filler kind of thing in it, because it seems like it's almost bigger by necessity. Because Doom 2016 was so successful, so let's go and do the thing. And so it's kind of like, it's why in some ways why I like Vice City still more than San Andreas or 4 or anything like, because it just had like this right kind of balance. And I think that's what
Vice
you're saying
City?
with with
Well, that's the thing too, because even with GTA, when you're right, because when San Andreas came out, and a lot of people think San Andreas is the best one, but when San Andreas came out, that was actually the start of this kind of like bloating of content. What I mean by bloating, I guess I should be clear. It's when you like start to include like more and more like movie stars and rappers and performers and people that are in other parts of the entertainment industry,
Right.
and you make that a big part of what you're selling. Now I know that in Vice City, at least the main character was that Ray Liotta?
Yeah, it was Ray Liotta. Yeah, there was some kind of, but it didn't have near as much as once got into San
But it
Andreas.
wasn't like San Andreas. We had like Samuel L. Jackson, and you had like all these other people. And then I think with 5, because 4, I played 4, but I don't recognize anyone in that.
4 was where they did their whole little artistic, we're gonna like, the
We're
human
gonna make it more realistic, right? More grounded.
Right.
Yeah.
And, but then when that didn't work, then they were just like, let's do what we did on San Andreas with the 5th one, and then became like a parody of the very thing that they were trying to parody by the time.
Yeah.
So yeah. But no, that is what I mean, where it's like, you have like this game, like, because that's the whole thing. Games are like, when you get something just right, it's like it is undescribable in terms of just like oh, don't add any more, don't add any less. It's like there's this Goldilocks zone, and that's kind of where like Doom Eternal, while still good, is not quite the visceral.
I didn't play Doom Eternal. I did play Eternal. I didn't play the Dark Age.
Dark Age one is where like they God, I can't say his name right now. The guy does the music though, but they went with AI. And it seems like him not being there has completely just made like Doom the Dark Ages not it again, like it's just balance, like the vibes and like the people involved and everything like that. Mick Gordon.
Mick Gordon, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
The guy.
And I think that music though, especially for the Doom series, is one of those things that does kind of give it that. And then when he wasn't there, then that just it's mimicking it, but it's not.
I should do a whole like show on video game music sometime, because I think that that is like a lost art. I mean, you still get it every so often, but lately, because I've been streaming like Slop games on my channel, on this channel, if you guys are curious. So subscribe to my channel if you want to see me play some older games, because I want to like try to like, well, basically playing games I never played before, so I can re-experience or not re-experience, but experience the things that everyone else talks about, and I can speak to it. And one thing I've noticed after playing Fallout New Vegas, Half-Life, all of the Half-Life games, and now I'm playing through the Halo games, the music is so important to it, and it really like it really gets you going when that
Yes.
theme of humanity starts playing in Halo, and it's like you know,
Mhm.
that gets the blood pumping. Like you need that shit. You know, when I think back when I was a kid and I played like games on my 8-bit NES, like, you know, the music for those games was what always stuck with me after I like put the controller down, because it was like half of like what you're experiencing comes down to the sound, and the music is a big part of that.
Yep.
But yeah, like Doom 2016, and I think Doom Eternal as well had awesome music. Like that
Yeah.
was like a big part of it. Um, but yeah, anyway, so and me going over to, I think it was Bethesda, who are the people who are behind Elder Scrolls, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they were upset about the layoffs, and instead of working on, oh, I don't know, Elder Scrolls 6, they're outside like protesting. They're
Right.
protesting the layoffs. They're mad about the layoffs. And I think that it's actually a good thing overall, even though I don't know what Ash Sharma, is that her name? The woman in charge of
Asha
Xbox.
Sharma. Yeah.
Asha Sharma. I don't know what her.
Yes.
I don't trust her at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, Asha Sharma. Um, but I don't blame her for the layoffs. I think that it was necessary because
Yeah.
Microsoft was losing money, and I mean their profit margin was like grocery store level.
Right. That and given
So
some of the things we've heard about, like people's response to layoffs, they still have more people that are still getting in the way. So when people
yes,
from HR are actually like getting it right for once. Did you hear about? I think it was either Bethesda or Obsidian. I'm pretty sure it was Obsidian. Um, they had some people get laid off, and then the people that remained put up a fucking in memorial thank you for your service display
mhm.
in the front of the office, and HR showed up and was like, yeah, you gotta take this shit fucking down, because clearly like these people aren't dead. Like, people come and go in the game industry all the fucking time. Grow the fuck up and just get to fucking work. And maybe and actually, you know what? Thank you for bringing this to our attention, because there will be another round of cutting. And everybody who did this in memoriam today, be prepared to lose your jobs in the next round of cuts, because fucking grow up.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but you know what? Like I said, I'm hopeful that it works out. Remember, Elon Musk bought Twitter,
Mm.
fired 80% of their staff, 80%, and then just like the remaining 20%, which who must have been the best people, he just opened up X. And everyone, when he initially did that, everyone was swearing
Oh
that was
yeah,
going
they're
to
like,
kill the
oh, this
company.
whole
They were
thing's
like,
gonna be dead within 6 months. Like,
yeah,
it's
you
not
can't
gonna
run a
like,
company with that small of a crew. You're going to work them to death. No, as it turns out, most of the people who were working at X were doing nothing.
yeah.
They were basically avocado toast jobs, and like he was able to get rid of them. It's like, yeah, we're gonna get rid of all this stuff. I think there was like all kinds of like, you know, like indoor playgrounds and shit at the offices, and I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of like those kinds of environments could pop up at any of these places, because they get so like bloated, and you get all of these made up, you know, positions. And DEI has a lot to do with that too, because you know it often means that they have to hire people of a certain, you know, they have to have a certain number of people with mental illnesses, they have to have a certain number of the obese, they have to have a certain number of, you know, I don't know, Australian Aboriginals on the payroll. So they basically had to hire them and be like, yeah, you're just gonna like, you know, just go over there, just stay out of our way, and it's just
Right.
costing them money. So I think that it's actually overall a good thing to like run on a tight team, and also a smaller team can get a lot more done actually, because there's less red tape.
Right.
They're more like, especially if they're all on the same
Well,
page. Like you're not going to
that
have as many egos competing. You know, you're going to
yeah.
have a more focused, creative vision. It's just better, I think.
Well, that and just even the whole concept of an actual team. The larger your organization is, the more unwieldy it gets at a certain point of size and scale. You can no longer actually have consensus and a focused kind of vision, and like people that are actually activated within their roles, because when with more people, things get diluted, and like the more it's diluted, the less people are attached because they don't have the investment to begin with, and it's just kind of like this thing that just kind of exists. Well, it becomes exactly what you're talking about. The grown up daycare,
Yeah.
kind of situation, because people they do not actually have that company is not like an extension of who they are, because like that's what we used to get with especially with gaming industry stuff is id was id because of the 5 or 6 guys that made the
Blizzard had a small team.
right and
like-
so many of these places you knew like 3 or 4 people, and like there was
Yeah.
like a support group around that, and but yeah, it would be like 10-15 people at most, and they would make the most amazing kind of things that have defined like our childhoods or like various stages of our lives over the course of the last 30-40 years
Yeah.
of high level gaming, and a lot of that has actually just come through like people that legitimately just were a team, and that's because they were a small well run group that actually understood their interpersonal dynamics and all this kind of whatever that just the thing that just makes it that special kind of whatever that it is the zeitgeist, and we're out of that now because like it's become so overbloated and kind of concerned about what it should even be concerned about, and like it doesn't even know like it's the corporatization of games. Yeah, the best thing that the corpos can do at this time is try to corpo themselves out of it, and if they want to stay invested, that's all they ever had to do. But that's the thing is like if they want to be successful in the games industry, then leave the game industry to the actual development and designers and people who have project visions and things like that, but keep the whole corporate structure of people who come in saying things like, oh well, we need to like make sure that we cater to this lifestyle group and this. No, shut those motherfuckers up and just let people who were good at making what they were doing support them in the to begin with, so they have wider reach. And that's all you need to do. That's all that you ever needed to do. Trying to overcomplicate it and try to like say, well, we just change this variable right here with this calculated risk, and these are all just fucking wants and desires, and like these are just like people who think that they can project their ideologies and just kind of like the things that make them feel like, oh, wouldn't the world be so much better and utopian if we just had these things? You got to get those people out of the process. You just got to like focus on like just making games for the sake of people who like to play games because it's escapist and it's fun, and then it's just like it's a thing to do. Like just get back to like the most simple aspects of this.
Well,
and just give people funding. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I think that that's what is again, if they fired the right people and enough of them, then we will get back to that. It's just not going to happen right away. Now, of course, the next thing is, because this is like, I think this is part of how we got here in the first place too. I remember it was like when LA Noire and GTA 4 were coming out, or Red Dead Redemption. It was either GTA 4 or Red Dead Redemption. The first one was coming out. And there was all this talk in the journosphere space about crunch time, right? And how absolutely like cool it is to the employees that this even exists, right? That, oh my God, like they work such long hours and it's so hard. And look, I'm not saying it's not a lot of work, but that kind of rhetoric is usually what precedes things like unions and like these like essentially like these initiatives that end up creating the bloat. Like we need more employees, right? We need more help. We need more breaks. We need more vacation time. We need more benefits. We need this. And so like it's hard to say, because you could say, well, I think the crunch is really unfair to the employees. And we don't know the details. We just know what we're told about it. but I do think that on some level, it's sort of like a union type of thing. And of course, there have been calls to unionize in various games, game developing houses, the various corporations for a long time. And I think generally it's not a good thing because it will be a part of this problem. It will add to the cost of things.
Yeah, unfortunately, unions
will-
have become bureaucracies in their own right as well.
Well, they
Just
yeah
add to it.
yeah. Well, they are, and that's what I mean. Like, but I say that as a counter to that, there is the other side of this too, which is the problem is that if there is a problem with crunch, then there shouldn't be like you shouldn't make like the release date like a big part of the branding, right? You should do what Blizzard used to do, for example, which is like, release date when it's done. That was their whole thing. You'll get it when it's done. No one hates Valve because we haven't gotten Half-Life 3 yet.
Right.
Well, everyone is patiently waiting for it, right? So, and I think that what the consumers could learn is patience if the teams are going to be smaller, because I think it'll be worth it if the right people are working there. But I think that the sort of crunch conversation might become a little bit too dominant, especially because yes, there are people tasked with a new Fallout game, with a new it was like a couple of other franchises that people were talking about. And again, we don't know if this is going to happen, but we got Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Minecraft, Forza. What else? I just had one in my head that they were supposed to be like working on, or there's rumors around a new game for. I can't remember it now, but it's just a rumor anyway. It doesn't matter. But my point is that if that's the case, then I think that like what be okay is for us to just let them take their time to get it right and not sweat it, and that's perfectly fine by me because I have plenty in my backlog anyways. Like I'm not really concerned about when I'm going to get the next new thing. I have plenty to do, so it's fine.
Right.
Okay. So
and it doesn't lead to embarrassment like GTA over the course of the last couple of years, sitting here saying, "Oh, this is going to be the day. This is going to be the day." Just fucking, yeah. Finish your shit, and then
don't worry about it. Just tell us when it's time, and we'll go from there. Exactly. They like to create the hype because it does make because there's pre-orders and things like this too. But I don't know. I don't like pre-orders. I never do it. All right, let's look at some of your comments. Then we're gonna move on to the next one. So. False Avatar, what's up? He says, "Sup, Badger? Hope I'm not too late, boys." No, you're right on time, I think. Microsoft sure activating that Halo ring, huh? Yeah, I don't know. Rafa says, "I think this is a good move from Microsoft." Well, they're just responding to incentives. They I think they have to. I don't think it's obviously not only happening at Microsoft. I think it's happening across all of the large publishers. And studios, it's happening across the board. Robert Johnson says they were operating at a 3% profit margin from what I saw, which is typical for a grocery store. Their profitability was buried under layers of management. 17 deep. Yeah. So and then remember, one of the things that I mentioned that they were trimming at was middle management, which is like huge. Like that's a big problem. That's where like most of the bloat usually sits is middle management and HR.
Right. And because you end up spending all of your time fixated on fucking process work rather than working, right? And so you have to go through 7 levels of fucking communication just to go and do something that you should just be able to just do. Because it's like, well, this is why I was hired to begin with. Why do I have to fucking go? You have to make sure that this is how Alana Pierce ends up being an accessibility consultant, things like that. This we do not need things like this in the game industry. It does not benefit you to go and have so many just tacked on positions that get away from the whole point in the first place. Like if people like games, they're gonna like games.
Yeah, if I apply for a job somewhere, I want a job. I don't want a made up job so that I can work at a place.
Right.
I want to feel like my input matters. We got a super chat from False Avatar for $2.99 Australian. Thank you. And he says, all snakes got to shed their skin, boys. Then he says, we don't want another Fallout. We just want a good games and not getting blamed for their shit ones bombing. Well, I mean, I'm all for. They're gonna put out a new Fallout. They're going to because, we got the show now, and it's inevitable. I don't think Fallout 76 is enough on its own. I think they are gonna make one, but we'll have to see. I don't know. Is it gonna be woke? I don't know. I think probably a little, at least. That's what I think, because you're not gonna be able to get rid of you can't really cut out the cancer that easily. Unless you have people that are like dead set on saying, no, we're not doing that here.
And we've learned in 2026, even people that you used to know, used to be your heroes at one point in time, did something so great. We live in a completely different world. A lot of people who had like a nominal level of talent, skill, and ability, unfortunately, have also become much like the e-thought epidemic that we have. There are a lot of gassed up mids in this world that think that they are far greater than they actually are, and they buy into their own hype and they lose whatever it was that they once had, because now they think that they're like this, like, I'm so and so, I can do no wrong, and they fucking James Gunn it basically, and so yeah, like knowing what Tim Kaine is up to at Obsidian these days, I don't hold out high hopes for an Obsidian led Fallout, and that's a terrible thing to think. Like in 2026, that is like knowing that leading up to now, that New Vegas is kind of like it is the kind of like we were talking about with Grand Theft Auto series. The biggest game is not necessarily the best game. Right, the best game is the best game, and in Fallout, that's New Vegas is just kind of like it's the one, and for Grand Theft Auto, it's a little bit more varied based on who you are. For me, it's still Vice City is the one where it's just like perfect and just balanced. But the Grand Theft Auto is not going to be the same Grand Theft Auto it was. A lot of those creative people have left or changed, and same thing like now with Obsidian, with Tim Kaine coming back. He's very openly like happy about being a gay game designer, and look, Doctor Who was great in the early 2000s, and then RTD, the guy who was responsible for his creative resurgence, is also the guy who fucking stayed way too long and made it a giant fucking joke for the last decade. That it just was slowly just rotting on the bone, kind of, just the way that they have that as a Walking Dead property, and that's kind of the way I feel like a lot of like the next Halo game. I was never a big day Halo to begin with, but if you're a fan of Master Chief, I feel sorry for you with kind of what the future holds with that, and it's because like that's a lot of these games is I just don't trust the people that would be in a place of stewardship, which is all the more reason why you need to actually find people who know what the fuck they're doing in the first place and actually understand just gaming as like a thing, and allow them to make new things that aren't attached to all that fucking baggage. But again, like it's trying to I don't know, like what gaming has become. It's not surprising. It's just unfortunate, because it's like, of course, like people who want to invest in stuff, they want to invest in things that are already good ideas. But gaming, being the first at something doesn't necessarily even guarantee that you're going to be the one who's known for, because like look at the Dreamcast, had internet connection, had like all these things that the way that it just dealt with tech and provided stuff that was too early. It was, people weren't ready for it, and so like a lot of really good ideas all ultimately end up catching on, like after like 2 or 3 iterations and like the right mix of just things coming together. So there's no way that you can just use analytics to try to factor yourself into a hit. We see that happening in the movie industry now too, along with games. Like it's just there's so much that's miscalculated that's trying to run through like these homogenized systems of corporatization. Like, that's not how you arrive at creativity. Corporates aren't creative. And so like them having too much control in the process of actual creativity is effectively, a surefire way to undermine it all. And we're just seeing the outgrowth of that. And I think we just have to own up to it. And they need to, like, if they want to do well and they want to concern themselves with just making money, then they should just shut the fuck up and stay out of the way who actually know what the fuck.
Let us work. Norwegian on Rumble said Doom 3's music was better than 2016. I never played Doom 3. Might have to pick that one up and check it out. I know that it's on PC for like $10 right now or something. It was on the Xbox way back in the day.
Oh, speaking of good game deals, I picked up Helldivers, the first one, the top-down one.
Oh, okay.
And Squirrel with a Gun for under $5 yesterday from Loaded.
Sweet.
So
are they even supporting the servers on the first Helldivers game?
Yeah.
Game is really old.
Yeah. I just got it for Steam.
Because I guess you could still play it, but Helldivers 2 is like, it was constantly like, and it's still doing it. It's constantly creating new events and new things happening. It's like they're trying to create a living galaxy, right? Of like things constantly changing. Right. I guess the first one maybe didn't have that because they were a smaller team back then.
The first one, oddly enough, like the first one actually uses the same engine. It's
the same engine. They just have it like a top-down kind of
isometric
gauntlet, Diablo style. Gameplay. Yeah. All right, that's good to know. So yeah, Helldivers 1 and Squirrel with a Gun are on sale for very cheap.
Yep.
False Avatar said music is a good layer for the cake to cake. Okay. Murder of Crows said funny how the activist devs showed up on the scene in hand with the black crocs of this world and their extra special low interest subversive checkbox DEI Trojan horse funding. Say that's 5 times fast. Wildcard Q4K says at Honey Badger Arcade, Sony knows it will get away with it. The buying of Black Ops digital licenses all over is proof of this. Stop Killing Games has failed. Games are going to die, like it or not. They will not be saved. Start pirating if you want to preserve games. It's over. I'm not going to panic, but it's okay. Like we're going to do what we got to do. I think that it's basically been on the decline for a while, anyways.
Yeah. I have a 5 terabyte Western Digital black drive right here. I'm planning on effectively, because I am running SteamOS, I'm just going to install EmuDeck.
Yeah.
And so I'm basically just going to have my own game.
Your library on that.
Yeah. I'll have like a historical archive of just about every console run virtually through.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Wildcard says Fallout needs to die. Some stories just have to end. Fable was better off a standalone game. Oh yeah, Fable is still being worked on. Let's see. You never go full game. James Gunn. Doom 2016 was a complete ass crack. Okay. Well, I guess nobody liked that one except me. Seeing Master Chief go to Master Cuck in real time was painful. When does that happen? Oh, Halo 3. As for Halo 3, in the end, Marty said, so that means fuck every 343 game. Was Halo 3, I thought that was still Bungie. Am I wrong about that?
I thought it was still Bungie up through the 3rd one. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
False Avatar says, we pirating on the high seas, laddie. Yeah. Hey, well, I'll get to that later. Rafa says modern games aren't worth pirating, rather stick with retro. Okay, well, we have plenty. Like I said, there's plenty out there. It's like if Hollywood never made a movie again, I wouldn't be that upset because I have like a massive.
There are 40 years,
40 movies,
of great games with which to go and find hidden gems and all kinds of shit.
And there's plenty of stuff that like foreign films and. There's plenty of content. It's out there.
I found my Dune RTS Dune 2000 ISO. Just
The
other day.
Dune, the show from
the old fucking the old real time strategy game. Like it was made by
the RTS,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So like
Yeah, there's plenty. Like I still have other Onslaught games I gotta
Westwood.
get to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
the one that was made
when I'm
by
done with
Westwood
Halo, I'm
Studios.
not sure what I'll do next, but I know at some point I'm gonna do Knights of the Old Republic because I never played it before, and I think that should be like a good time because they're working on other Knights of the Old Republic. They're remaking the original.
There is
It's probably
a
gonna be shit,
mod. There's a restoration mod for KOTOR 2 that I would highly suggest. Yeah, when you get done with the first one, obviously. I love KOTOR 1 and 2. Second one was kind of mishandled because it was similar to kind of like a New Vegas situation. They were like, hey, tasked with making a whole new sequel, capitalizing on the merits of the first one and its success in a very short development time, and a whole bunch of stuff got cut out. But now there's mods that have restored a lot of that cut content. So yeah, those are great games.
Well, let us know what you guys think about this. All these layoffs in the comments. Are you happy about this? Are you unhappy about this? What does this mean? Does it mean anything at all? Let me know in the comments. We're gonna move on to the next. Didn't they cancel it? Cancel what? What did I say? You talking about the the remake of KOTOR? I don't know. I thought it was full speed ahead on that. All right. Well, anyway, let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. We're gonna move on to the next thing. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the physical copies. So Sony announced at the beginning of the month that it's going to end production of physical discs for all new PlayStation games, first and third party, starting in January of 2028. So it's a couple years away now.
That's right.
After that date, a year and some change. New
play has limits.
Huh?
They say play has limits.
Yeah. After that date, new releases will be available only in digital formats via the PlayStation Store and at retailers, typically as code-in-a-box editions. Existing games and those releasing before the cutoff will continue to get physical discs, and Sony has clarified that reorders for pre-2028 titles will still be possible. The main reasons cited are shifting consumer preferences, with digital downloads now making up 78 to 85% of full game sales on PlayStation. The move also cuts manufacturing and distribution costs for Sony, eliminates the used game market, and funnels more revenue directly through the PlayStation Store. It strongly suggests the base PS6, expected in around 2028, will launch without a disc drive. No other major console makers have fully committed to the same timeline yet, but the industry is trending towards digital only. Microsoft is reportedly planning a discless next-generation Xbox, which they're calling Project Helix, and testing features to digitize physical libraries. Nintendo is currently the holdout, with strong physical cartridge support on Switch 2, and analysts expecting it to continue for the foreseeable future due to its unique market position. Physical media isn't completely dead yet, but it's declining fast and feels like a niche for collectors and preservationists going forward. U.S. physical game spending hit record lows in 2025, and the broader entertainment shift towards, in music and movies supports this trajectory because people are not buying records, they're listening to Spotify. People are not going to, they're not getting Blu-ray discs, they're just streaming their movies and TV shows or whatever the disc is, right? Many gamers are unhappy about ownership concerns, resale, and long-term access to digital stores close. Yes, and that is the thing. What we've been saying on this channel for a long time is that, and this has been with whatever you get it. I think with some exceptions, you're not buying a game, you're getting a license to play the game. And so the license is at the discretion of the people that sold it to you. And in a way, you could blame Sony for this. You could blame Microsoft, Nintendo, whatever, because Nintendo's going in this direction as well. But ultimately, it's the consumers that basically said that, because since 85% of all the spending is digital sales, because people are like, oh, I just want to download the game and play it right away.
Now,
then
They did also do some fuzzy math to arrive at those.
yeah.
Those calculations. Yes, they specifically. Yeah, when they were doing their math on factoring into it, they specifically chose things that were DLCs, digital. So things that were dependent on being downloaded and things like that. So they were kind of self-fulfilling prophecy math. So they arrived at a conclusion that was already headed in that direction. So like they're, because when they go and they say that, oh well, it's your own fault because you went along with it, you and now, and we're just trying to be profitable. They have had in under a week's time 250,000 people sign on to a petition immediately to be like, hey, don't be fucking with physical games. The same thing's going to happen now that happened then 13 years ago with Xbox. One of their big fucking blunders was a lot of dude bros who were in the military loved Microsoft's system. They loved Xbox. And then they went to get on the fucking submarines, and then they couldn't use their systems anymore because there's no fucking internet in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
There's no internet in a fucking battlefield. There's no, this and that. And so a lot of the people who used to play their games, in the armed forces, rely on physical access media because they're in the middle of fucking war-torn fucking situations, and they need escapism more than anyone because they're getting shot at.
Yeah.
during their working hours.
I hope you're not playing Halo while you're getting shot at.
Right.
It's
But,
gonna be
right,
like in real life, yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
well, it's just one of those things where it's like, there's a very big fundamental flaw to the idea of trying to eliminate physical access media completely. If you want to limit pressings and things like that, I understand. But to go and try to get rid of it outright is more about, just being able to have that terms of service, arbitrary acts of control, and at any point, because the whole time Sony's saying this bullshit about look, we're doing this because this is what you demand. At the same time, in the same week that they say this shit, oh, by the way, everybody, we're shutting down the PlayStation Vita store and the PlayStation 3 store. So good luck with that, and all the games that you bought for those. They'll still work if you have copies of them, but you're not going to be able to download new copies of them after such and such date. And some places we've already shut the stores down. So you're welcome. This is not bode well when they sit here saying, prepare for an all digital future. Oh, by the way, the thing that we used to do when we were just dropping our toes into the water. Yeah, we're shutting on all that shit down. So
yeah,
what are you investing in? That is not the right way to message when you're sitting here trying to say you have nothing to worry about by us getting rid of physical media, when the very concept of digital ownership stores are now being shut down. Shit that doesn't ever have to shut down, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
So
what we need now is okay. If you already own physical media, I would keep it. I have a lot of physical media, but I admittedly, since I've been doing most of my gaming on Steam lately, most of what I have is digital. But there are, I think, first of all, there are a number of options. One is, yes, you can still get it on physical media. What I'd be curious about, and maybe some of you guys are a little bit more, you're probably more tech brain than I am. I'm not at all. There's probably a way to, let's say that you have like I have a PS4 and a PS3, and I have a number of games downloaded on my PS4 and PS3 over the years of having owned them, and I would like to keep them. And so since I have the data on my console, I'm wondering, is there a way to sort of jailbreak your console so that you can access the games that you've downloaded, regardless of whether or not you're online?
Depending on
there
your
must be a way.
Depending on your user case, depending on your
Huh?
user case. Depending on your user case, yes, there is very much a way that you can still jailbreak your DRM copies and have them so that they will work on a jailbreak.
Yeah, like play the games offline and stuff. Because right now, if I lose my internet connection, there are a number, not all of them, but there's a number of PS4 games I can't play.
Right.
And yeah, PS2 I have the emulator. I'm not worried about my PlayStation 2. Like that doesn't have the same limitation. I can play my PS2 whenever I want, and it doesn't matter if I have the internet or not, because none of those games rely on the internet, save for like the couple that came towards the end.
There are people that are working on jailbreak projects that will go and give you local LAN through internet.
I know there are that's out there. I know that for a fact. So like there must be. So yeah, there's that for whatever you already have.
There will be methods. There are already, because of the stuff that has happened in just these recent weeks alone. There is
another thing I'd like is a way to, like, and maybe you guys know this too. If I already have like a digital game on my PlayStation or on my PC for that matter. I also have a disk drive that I bought for my PC so that I can't show you guys, but I have a disk drive that I bought for my PC so I can like put a disk in it and use it, because PCs don't have disk trays either unless you get a special case that will allow that. But I don't think that's the norm anymore. Everything is digital now. But I'd like to be able to take my PS4 games and my PC games, my PS3 ones in fact, and burn them onto a disc so that I can like use, I will always have a physical copy. So I think that like whatever they're not willing to do, I think we should be able to reverse engineer, So, and I think it's completely possible. I don't know if you guys know anything like that, but
there are options for being able to, if it's a disc-based medium, you can usually find a way to dump it. If it's a ROM-based cartridge system, there is somebody who will make a compiler that you can buy, and you just plug it in and it'll do that. So there is always, again, that's why this whole cat and mouse of security and fucking whatnot, it doesn't make any goddamn sense, because at a certain point in time they're going to stop giving a shit about guarding the gate, and people are constantly going to have new technology and new ways to go at trying to do it, or just outright just making new PCBs that you can either go and fucking graft in with like just some simple solder points, or just like just plugging in like a new device into the old cable, and like there are going to be a whole breadth of new ideas and creativity in terms of how we go about making pirate culture more accessible, because that's got to be what it is at this point in time. Just fuck just do it anyways.
If licensing is not ownership, then piracy is not theft.
Exactly.
And that's the other thing too, is that like, and you can all, I don't know, like I think I've sung their praises in the past, but I think you can probably still own your game if you get it on GOG, and Steam will let you play most of their games offline. I think. Except for the ones that depend
Steam
on
generally,
online,
Yeah, Steam generally is just using the overlay as a way to just kind of make all the executables work in a nice contained space. But for the most part, they are just running executables like any other PC file, So yeah, a lot of the games on Steam are technically DRM free, and you can just as easily access them outside of Steam already. And GOG definitely has them all DRM, where you just download the actual just source files itself, and then just use whatever launcher, because that's how you're able to use a GOG game within Steam, is you're just going and saying add, play this game that's outside of Steam, and it just drops it into the overlay, and all that stuff just works. So yeah, there's a lot of
and canny people are going to work out alternatives. We talked about GOG. There's probably going to be other companies like GOG. They're not going to be the EA store, the Epic store, those places. I'm expecting there's going to be this stuff doesn't happen without some counter coming into existence, and also Sony's. There's a number of Sony executives that are like selling their shares because of the
Yeah.
backlash to this. So it's not like this is going without, any resistance even from the inside. So Sony president and CEO Hiroki Totoki, name, sold stock days after the PlayStation announced the end of discs. Multiple Sony executives have also been selling their shares following this backlash.
Yeah.
So they are basically like, there are people who inside of Sony that aren't happy about this either.
Right.
And again, this isn't only happening at Sony. This is across all
And
the entire industry.
Right. And the sad thing is you don't sell shares if it's something that you think is going to blow over in 6 months.
Yeah. No,
You know?
I think that they're generally the share thing moves around depending on it is driven by emotion, but I think it's justified in this case. And again, this is just another example of how Sony basically fucked up when they moved their studios to California.
Right. And but I think that given how bad the situation is, I don't think that you would sell shares if it's something that you think is just bad press for the moment. Like, this is something that does not get better in the next 4 years, 5 years. Like this is quite literally like, you don't sell your shares at that level unless you're like, I will never be able to sell this for this value again in the foreseeable 20 years. So like, that is bleak when the structure within Sony itself is actually sitting here saying, I have to sell my shares because I know that there's no way that we can unfuck the situation that we have now committed to. And oof.
Yeah,
it's sad.
It's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
But I do think ultimately it comes down to one, we still already own plenty of physical media. There's plenty of retro games that are still rock. If you own any physical media of games, some of them might even become like collector's items. I know that I have a game called Folklore for my PS3 that I guess is like really sought after right now. Like, do you even know what Folklore is?
I know of the name. I do recall the name. I'm just
it was like one of the first. It was like one of the early titles that came out when the PS3 first dropped.
Is that the one where you play as the bard?
No, that's Bard's Tale. That one was pretty good too.
Bard's Tale is
I
also
remember that.
Good one.
No, Folklore was like, it was like this. It was almost like a Pokemon type game where you collected like these little fairy creatures and you could play. As
Okay,
all
right. Yes, now I'm remembering. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. Okay, I do recall.
Yeah,
vaguely.
Anyway, they're kind of rare. My PS4 also has Silent Hill PT on it. Which is also like, you can't get that anymore.
Yeah, I know.
And that's the other reason why I want to know like a way to like preserve like what I have on my console now.
PT you
somehow,
can only PT only exists on the PS4 at this point.
Yeah, and only within a certain window of times. It was basically like a playable teaser.
Right. You can't even and you can't even easily transfer it from one PS4 to another now.
Yeah,
I got mine transferred from my PS4 to my PS4 Pro, and then shortly thereafter, like I think about 6 months, a year after that, they made it so kind of similar to this whole we closed down the Vita store and the PS3 store. Yeah, they just delisted it ultimately, and so now like it's just one of those things that if you ever get rid of the download on you still have it, you can still do it if it's on your PS4. But if you ever delete that file, you never like there's nowhere to stick it anywhere else. So you just have to have it on your PS4, and it doesn't work anywhere else. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's the future. Everything is going to be locked to specific things. Like you'll just have like these weird kind of instances, and none of this stuff is resellable. Like so. And if you want to buy it, like they'll still charge $60, and like just like look at a console generation where we're 4 or 5 years in now, and at this point in time, most consoles are half the cost they were at the onset, and now they're twice as much as they were. Yep. We are in a completely uncharted territory in terms of like what the game industry should be and where it actually is. And so, like, any kind of common sense discernment is just kind of it's a best case scenario, kind of like I way of proceeding, like in just your own kind of thought process, but it's all off the fucking table. Nothing hits. None of this makes sense to begin with right now, and it's gonna make even less sense as we move forward.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let us know what you guys think about this in the comments. Again, we do have a number of options, and I think that we're going to see some bright minds, some great minds are going to come up with solutions for those of us who already own these things digitally. And as far as the future goes, like I already said, if you didn't own it, then it's not stealing. So let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. We got to move on to the next story. So we're going to talk about the Odyssey now. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey has been, like, we've seen some people, there's been early screenings, right? There's a lot of excitement from the folks over at the Legacy Media about this.
Right.
So there was a world premiere on July 6th with overwhelmingly ecstatic early reactions, calling it a staggering achievement and potential crowning masterpiece.
Stunning and brave.
What?
Stunning and brave.
Stunning and brave. Critics praised the colossal IMAX scale, breathtaking practical effects, intense battle sequences, especially Troy, and emotional depth that blends spectacle with psychological insight, often comparing it favorably to Oppenheimer while noting horror elements and career best turns from stars like Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Samantha Morton, and the stacked ensemble, including Tom Holland, Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, and others. Global premieres, and there's a big one in Mumbai, are fueling hype with ticket demand for premium formats breaking records ahead of the July 17th, which is basically like this next weekend, wide release. So the buzz is not without controversy, of course. Some viewers and online voices have pushed back against perceived subversive and bracingly modern elements in Nolan's adaptation, particularly casting choices and tonal shifts, sparking debates about fidelity to Homer, with one CNN reviewer's quote later amplified and debated, highlighting the psychological interrogation and modern take. Despite pre-release skepticism and trailer dislikes, the post-premiere critical wave has been strongly positive, positioning it as a must-see summer event built for IMAX rewatches. And so let's talk about what they said about it. So there's this guy named Kevin Lamb, who was a see here, hold on. Tom. I'm sorry, not Kevin Lamb. Tom Page, and Tom Page is a CNN writer, and this is what he wrote about the movie after the London premiere. He said, "I'm not an influencer, just a humble interviewer. I'll say this about the Odyssey. It's an astonishing spectacle and a brilliant subversive adaptation. The scale was a given, but Nolan's psychological interrogation of events was what satisfied me most. A bracingly modern take." So we have three buzzwords in that right off the bat. Number one, astonishing spectacle and a brilliant subversive adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
And then a psychological interrogation of events, and then lastly, a bracingly modern take.
Right.
And there were interviews with cast members. Obviously, they're doing like the press runs and everything. And Nolan was sitting there with an interviewer, and he said something about, maybe I can find the clip, but
yeah. Well, while you're looking for it, that's the thing, is this isn't actually the Odyssey. This is a feminist's dissertation.
Oh yeah.
Of the Odyssey. This is like based on some legitimately. It's like some feminist wrote a book about the Odyssey, and this is a movie.
I know it was a feminist adaptation of the Odyssey. Yes,
right,
100%.
Right, and this is based on that fucking interpretation of the story. Is what? Okay, so
yeah.
This is barely the Odyssey.
The other thing too is
this is the audacity, as I like to call it, or the oddity, like I put on
the oddity. I like the oddity better.
Yeah.
The thing is too is that I think that first of all, Nolan thinks that there's like a cultural prejudice, right? I don't know why he does that, but like he said that he wrote the dialogue more modern
Yeah,
because
Daddy.
he thinks that the way that we used to do this way of doing these performances that were historical, and I talked about this on a couple videos I made. It's kind of like a high English, like a posh English that's comes out of stage play, right? Like Shakespearean acting. And there's a style of speech that you would use to suggest that, you know, the characters in the story are from another time. So they speak in this, what they call high English. That's what you get when you watch like any movie that takes like an old movie like Spartacus or Jason and the Argonauts or Ben-Hur or, you know, even the Ten Commandments, like whatever it is, like it takes place in ancient Rome, ancient Greece, ancient Egypt. You're gonna have like they're gonna use this style of speech for that, and it's because the audience needs English. You can't speak in the actual language the character spoke unless you are Mel Gibson and you're like everyone's gonna speak Aramaic and I'll subtitle it.
Right.
But or that one the Apocalypto. Those are great movies, by the way. Apocalypto, great. It's all Aztecs, right? And or Mayans or something, and they're speaking their native language and he subtitles it. That's extremely like, you know, that's going the other way, like kind of far, I think. I don't think you need that for like a summer blockbuster, but having the characters talk the way that we talk, I see it as kind of like insulting the audience, because I think what Nolan is thinking is that people are too stupid to like listen to like people speaking in high English.
Right.
So we're just going to have them speak in modern vernacular.
See,
just like, hey, Dad, what's up? You know, but I think it's going to be extremely like disorienting for people.
Well, there's a huge disconnect in verisimilitude in the sense of trying to adapt modern colloquialisms into historical reference, you know, points, because it's like we do not speak in this. We don't think in the same way that people from the past did, and so to try to go and graft these modern contrivances of, you know, just our weird kind of Pavlovian fucking training responses to like, that is no, this is just that is just a way to kind of cope and reason to what is actually like derisive and just undermining and eroding away at fundamental shit from the past that actually you should show respect to, you know, because it's just that just I don't know, that just seems like a way of trying to lampshade a situation that they're actually magnifying the problem by trying to say, oh, it's not even a problem. No.
I think people are talking about Elliot Page now, or Ellen Page. I think that's like the least of its problems, because in my opinion, I don't think that Ellen Page is going to have a big role in this movie.
No.
Well, I mean, she's going to have a.
As
the only reason why she's in it is because she worked with Nolan on other movies, like Inception.
Right. And quite physically, like, there's no way that she could take up much space in anything.
She's going to be playing a small role.
Yeah, she should be a hobbit. She should be a hobbit.
Oh, I know. I saw the video of her with like her bodyguard.
Dude, that brown suit. Thighs. Yeah, I had.
Like, is this the forced perspective you guys are going to be using to portray the giants in the movie?
Right. Toasty and I had the other night. I had a crash out for about an hour with Toasty, just on her in that brown suit, because of all just the ludicrous nature of her being a man in a fucking brown suit. Like,
yeah. Well, Elliot Page being in the movie is indicative of the sunken cost. Because here's the thing, like
fallacy, exactly.
Elliot Page, or Ellen. I'm gonna say Ellen Page. I'm sorry. I'm gonna dead name her right now.
I do.
Ellen Page was a talented actress with a decent amount of potential who had been in a number of solid films, and she worked with Nolan a few times, and I think that they have grown. You know, they've had like a rapport. They work together, and so now that she's transitioned, everyone who has worked with her in the past is obligated to continue to work with her.
Right.
But and they can't say no. I'm sorry, you're a dude now, and it's just not going to work, or you're some weird freak of nature now that you've butchered yourself. Because they're all invested in it. They're all like, they all go to the same parties. They all know each other. They have to. So he's like, yeah, I guess I got to put you in my movie. And of course, he can't say it like that. He has to be like, I would be honored to put you.
Right.
So,
in fact,
and fuck the haters, and they're just going to cope with it. But I do think that in the back of his mind, he's like, you're going to have a really small role, but you're going to be in the movie. And of course, Ellen Page herself is like, I got to keep getting work. And so it's all, and she's getting work here and there, but it's not like it was. Like when she was Ellen Page, she was, Kitty Pryde of the X-Men. Like she was in stuff. She was in big things. She can't do anything now.
Yeah,
she was on that Umbrella Academy, and they had to this is what I mean. It has such an effect, the sunken cost, because in the show Umbrella Academy, because Ellen transitioned during the show's production, they had to write the character so that the character transitioned too. They had to basically bring reality into their fiction so that the fiction can continue without people saying, that's a dude now.
Right. Or what happened to this poor woman?
But Ellen Page is not the worst thing about this, not the most troubling thing. I think that it's going to be a small thing. It's not even Lupita Nyong'o that is a big thing. I think it's the whole mood of it is going to be like, they're saying this is going to be like Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, there's no way. I doubt it. I'll say that.
No. And Christopher Nolan does not have all the goodwill that people are seemingly thinking that they're at least they're advertising for him. Look, Batman Begins was great. The Dark Knight was a fucking phenomenal, kind of like, holy shit. Dark Knight Rises was kind of a clunker.
Yeah, I wasn't I didn't like Dark Knight Rises had massive plot holes. Dark Knight had plot holes too. But I did enjoy it. So
and that's the thing, is Christopher Nolan is not he's not as much of a surefire fucking hit machine as
he runs hot and cold, I think.
Right. And so there are so many reasons. The Ellen Page stuff is minimal. I mean, it's laughable stuff, I will never think of her as anything other than Ellen Page, especially after this past week with the whole brown suit thing, because no man ever, because men actually understand no one gives a shit about you standing out in the middle of the day in a brown suit that is ill-fitting and makes you look like I said, I had a little scratch.
Like the guy from Talking Heads.
Right. Yes, he does look like David Byrne, and that's a whole fucking
beautiful
bit.
House.
Right, and that's a whole bit like about being in like a little kid like wearing his dad's suit. Because here's the thing about suits, all right? You either wear you if you do your top button, you fucking cinch your goddamn fucking tie. If you undo your top button, then let it go fucking loose. And I know there's some people who have fat necks who will still undo the top button and still cinch it up, but you do not have a top button and a loose fucking tie. Like no man does that, and also no man would stand there for fucking it's like a 3-minute thing of them just doing like this shot of Ellen Page just standing there with her, with her supernatural queef pose. It's from that same day, and oh my god, I Toasty and I watched it the other day, and I just lost my shit over this thing because it was the most just feminine fucking thing I have ever seen. It was the most femtarded bullshit under the guise of this is a dude, and aren't we all just going to go along with it and celebrate his dudeliness when clearly no, this is some that's some Foyd shit. That was what they were doing. It's just absolutely laughable. God.
So the Nolan said about the online backlash, he says these conversations that happen before people see the film, they're always irrelevant because no one having them knows what the film actually is yet. So he's pretty confident that it's not going to affect him. So that's the last thing where I'm going to leave it at is because there isn't much else to say on this. Do you think the Odyssey is going to be a flop? Now, I'm not saying do you think it's going to be good or bad. I'm saying, do you think it's going to flop, or do you think it's going to make money?
I think with the amount of investment that's already gone into it, and the way that current movie landscape is, he will be lucky to eventually be profitable. Eventually, maybe. But then again, that's the idea of physical releases and things like that being a thing. So I don't I think people will go to see it. I don't plan on it myself. I think there are a lot of people who don't plan on going to see it. It's certainly going to do better than something like than Supergirl, without a doubt. But I don't think it's going to be earth shattering. You know, I don't think it's going to be nearly as successful as say like Grand Theft Auto. You know, it'll have its audience. It'll be kind of, but I don't think like it's the Odyssey. You know, in some ways it seems like, oh, that's awesome, I want to see that, wouldn't it be great? But there's also people who are like, oh, I don't care about all that stupid old shit, you know. So like this is like this, it'll
Yeah.
make it, I think it'll do okay, and they'll find a way to try to spin it. But I don't think this is gonna, like, you know, be a life altering fucking cinematic moment of, you know, just wow, you had to be there in 2026 when the Odyssey came out and just changed everyone's life and way of approaching movies. It's not going to be that. No way. Even if it were actually good, and I don't think that it is. Because
you know, I don't know, because like Nolan has some dedicated fans,
right.
and I think that like there are people who like they really don't want Hollywood to die, and so they'll like latch on to whoever. I mean, how
Right.
well did, I'm just asking, maybe you guys can tell me, I didn't look it up. How well did Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day do? Since it's Spielberg, there are, you know, he's got a diehard boomer audience that will
True.
watch anything he makes. And I think Nolan has an audience is very similar, you know, where they'll just be like, it's Nolan, I'm going to watch it. And well, Oppenheimer made a lot of money. I didn't watch it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Not
I
interested.
have no interest. Yeah.
But it's just because I got, yeah, I mean, I got kind of bored with him. I think I've seen his best movies. I saw Prestige, and I saw
Prestige is fucking
Batman
fantastic.
Begins. I saw The Dark Knight. Saw Dunkirk. I saw Memento. That was probably like one of his best, and it was like one of his first.
Mhm.
I just don't, he doesn't have the hunger anymore, maybe. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get
It's
ahead
like-
of myself.
It's
But
like
I
it's like
think it's hard
listening to
tell.
new Metallica. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I think
not-
it's hard to say. I think that he might manage to make a lot of money with this, despite some of the problems. And
Actually-
you know, he wrote the song for, what was the rapper who supposedly, you know, he did like the he's like the bard. Who's the
Oh
rapper?
yeah. Fuck. God, I know. Oh God. Scott
No idea.
something.
So you guys know. You guys know.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm talking about.
Dude who's at WrestleMania. With,
Yeah, I don't
with
remember
the
his
rock
name.
shit. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he wrote the Nolan basically helped make the song for it, or was
Right.
involved in making the song. So, but yeah. So I don't know, man. It might make money. What do you guys think? Do you think the Odyssey's gonna, you know, be a box office smash or a bomb? Let me know in the comments. Let me look at some of your comments, and then we're gonna move on. So Master Goa said for 5, thank you. Says I dropped a vid to Hype Train about funding the new Tenchi Muyo anime. Yeah, I saw the ads for that actually. I will queue it up, and if we have time, we'll look at it. Okay, so let's see what else. Let me cut that. Norwegian says casting Ellen Page was a mistake unless they need her to play a starving boy. Again, I think she's going to be playing a very small role, and it's they're gonna use her, like they're gonna use the plot to explain what she looks like. That's what I'm thinking they're gonna. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Sadly, the audience is that dumb today. I mean, look at the modern movie box office. The movies suck, but do well because nostalgia. Yeah. Well, it's either they cash in on nostalgia, or they cash in on woke stuff, like, oh, don't you want to see this movie? It has a gay black woman in it, and on some level it does work. I mean, I haven't I haven't been to the theater in a long time, and I used to go every weekend. I'd be going to the movies for something, but I haven't been to the theater in years.
Yeah, I do think you're right though, because and while I was saying it, I think Christopher Nolan is the Metallica of movies, in the sense that he's made some very catastrophic kind of there had a huge following, huge following, but then turned or had a lot of the audience kind of be like, no, I'm not with that anymore, and now kind of has it at this corporate level of success where it's still successful, but a lot of the people that used to be into it just are not. So yeah, I think you're right. It could very well still be successful because there are people who, because it's Metallica is still successful, but I don't think that they're really that creatively relevant or anything like that, but they're still successful. I couldn't say that they're not. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I certainly won't be watching this ever anytime soon.
Yeah. All right. Let me see. Well, we should move on. So, but thank you for the comments. Okay, so next up, real quick, Unreal Engine 6. So they're talking about Unreal Engine 6 right now, and the main thing that I think that's come up in terms of the conversation around this is that AI is going to be very much packed in right off the bat. So it's going to be using AI to help you basically program or code with it,
right?
And they've shown off some of the stuff that it's gonna they're like tech demos, so you can't.
In some ways, I understand
in
some ways I understand why you would actually even want to do this, because in terms of modular scalability and whatnot, for a lot of terrain data and this and that, more that you could just have all that just in a call list that you could just go and it will make certain things far fucking easier. And it will streamline a lot of shit. So it's not necessarily the worst thing, but also at the same time, it is going to be just a lot of just kind of more middleware taking actual creativity out of certain people's hands in certain ways, possibly. But best case scenario, it's just a way to go and catalog information very easily in a system that you wouldn't even be able to see, because the graphical interface isn't even going to be showing how it's doing all the direct link metadata associations and all that kind of stuff. So if it's just doing that, fantastic. But but if it's focused on kind of just trying to limit your ability to actually do creativity within the framework of the engine, then that's an issue. But if it's just for the hierarchy of information, cool. Just let me.
Well, here's what we know about it.
Right.
Again, they haven't officially revealed or dropped Unreal Engine 6, but there have been teasing things about it, and they're definitely it's definitely something that's being worked on. It is heavily integrating AI. Epic Games announced at State of Unreal 2026 that generative AI and large language models like Claude, Gemini, and others will play a central role in UE6. The focus is on using AI as a creativity and productivity multiplier to handle tedious, repetitive tasks, such as level setups, character rigging, particle systems, skinning bone weights, lighting adjustments, asset population, and more, while developers retain full creative control and manual overrides. This is enabled through the Model Context Protocol, which lets LLMs directly interact with the engine. It's already available experimentally in UE 5.8, so it's not this is a new thing per se, but it wasn't out of the box that way in Unreal 5, but it will be for 6. So developers can bring their own preferred models, and Epic has demos showing prompts used to build and furnish scenes, adjust environments based on real photos, etc. UE6 is targeting early access in late 2027, so it's not for a little ways yet. It's not about fully AI-generated games replacing developers. Epic emphasizes human intent and polishing, but it's a major shift to speed up iteration. Reactions are mixed, with excitement for productivity gains alongside the usual concerns about AI slop and job impacts. And the other thing too is that it's going to make game development potentially pretty expensive, like as a multiplier perhaps, because what I saw when they were showing the demos, they were showing how many coins were being used. Like they use coins to like use the AI for stuff. So it will like cost. So I think it might benefit like the large studios, but the indies, they're probably going to have to like, use like other engines, maybe like Unity or whatever. So
yeah, it's absolutely hilarious to me because like 30 years ago I was talking about the tokenization that's going to take place in the future. Of course, I was talking about like DEI kind of initiative bullshit and everything like that. But it is kind of hilarious though too that tokens are specifically what's being used to undermine us all from a technological aspect as well, because like that is kind of one of the weird things that we've come to learn is that AI, the AI revolution still doesn't even actually cost less money. So like all those people that just got fired that we were like, oh, well, AI saves money. No, you're just that terrible that they actually were willing to even spend more money on a token-based initiative system that is, hallucinating technology than keep you on the payroll because you suck that much. So yeah, it is kind of funny. Like this could actually drive up costs. So hopefully no. That's the other reason why we shouldn't get too sold on an AI driven future, because it is largely monetized and it's all about just tokenizing access to things, and it's not a way to actually have legitimate creativity lead technology. Instead, you just have people it's driven by people who have the market access financially, and that's not a good thing. So, but if it has possible implications, like I was just saying, if done within reason, awesome. But if it relies too much on trying to take the creativity out of it and just turn it into process stuff, then yeah, that's the last thing we need. Especially because like with the RAM apocalypse kind of doing what it's done to stall the creative level of technology that's going to be available, more so than ever. And we should have been doing this for the last 15 years anyways. We actually need to start telling stories within the game space that aren't based on the same story but girl, or what the hell, like just actually tell legitimate good stories and just let your stories speak for themselves and differentiate yourself through the flow states of your mechanics and all the kind of, because the tech is not going to get better than it is currently. It's just kind of we're at the state that it should be, and we can just focus on making good games at this point, which is what we should have been doing. So there are some levels of this that hopefully we can actually get to that, but that's under like the best terms of like, depending on what the cost of entry is. This might actually bring back around some level of passion driven garage gamer development, possibly. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, then it just turns it all into like a metric based system of who can actually afford to even do the development, because it has to all be done with AI tokens. If that's the case, then we're fucked. It's really one of two directions.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna look at what you guys are saying, and then we're gonna do like a couple of short stories and a little bit of cake, and then wrap it up since we're running out of time here. So, okay. True, the Spielberg movie would be a good indicator. Yeah, I don't know how much it made, but I don't think it did as well as movies he's done in the past.
It was like a blip. I think it might have been like number one for a week or two, maybe at most.
Yeah. Gabriel says Godot is gaining more traction with indies. Yeah, Godot's another one. There's a lot of other alternatives to Unreal 6 or Unreal 5. I think that most people are going to keep using Unreal because it's like, I guess, the industry standard and it's what most people learn on. But I think that it's just a bit of news. I think AI is here. There's nothing you can do about it. it is what it is, right? We might as well like find ways to like optimize that because that's here. But not everyone is going to use it because not everyone can. So, okay. So let's look at some little stories. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I thought this was kind of funny. So, so we have this Cyberpunk Edge Runners, right? And there's a new season coming very soon, Cyberpunk Edge Runners 2. It's going to have like completely different
Whole new
characters, new story and everything. So there's like a bit of like cross promotion, right? Where they're doing like crossover content from, you know, Cyberpunk Edge Runners to other video game franchises. And this is the promotional material for the Cyberpunk Edge Runners Wuthering Waves, I think. I don't know what Wuthering Waves is. I think it's like
a gotcha game. I think it's a waifu gotcha game.
Yeah, it's like a mobile, maybe?
Yeah.
The mobile game? Yeah. But as you can see, like the artwork still looks really nice for it. I believe that they put Lucy, who is the girl on the right over here, that looks a lot like
the one character who lived.
Yeah, the character who lived. They put her in Guilty Gear Strive as a playable character. And so like we've been seeing some cross promotion. And then they did like a Cyberpunk crossover with Apex Legends.
Oh.
And this is what it looks like.
Oh no. Oh no.
I don't know if you guys can see that.
Oh no.
Okay, so like we have 4 characters on the left, which are Cyberpunk 2077 characters. It works for them because they look more like what the characters in the game look like. You have female V, male V.
Yeah, this is diminishing returns. Oh my god,
and
Rebecca.
But over here, yeah, you got Rebecca. Who
oh my god. Oh my god.
David. Yeah, it looks terrible.
Yeah, yeah. David's the only one who kind of works, kind of from the Edge Runner side, but
who?
David? Kind of. He's and not even fully him, but fucking Rebecca. Oh my god. Rebecca and Lucy both are just no. Oh god.
I know. And the thing is, it couldn't. I don't know how they could have done it other than to just completely throw out like the Apex Legends art style and just replace it completely with the anime look, because when you take the anime characters and make them look real, I mean, they don't even look like what a cosplayer would look like.
Oh my god!
Dressed up as these characters.
I need the fucking Godfather meme, the massacre. Yeah, this is. Oh no!
It looks bad. Yeah, it looks bad.
Not good at all.
So I just thought that was a funny piece of random little news. In addition to that. Disney Plus is going to be, they're exploring a free version with ads, according to Business Insider. The free version of Disney Plus will include ads and give users access to only part of the Disney library instead of the full catalog. They want to attract more viewers, especially those who use free streaming services instead of paying for multiple subscriptions, like Roku, Tubi, stuff like that.
Yeah, they want to drive up their subscriber numbers by any means necessary, because they don't have to report what kind of subscriber you are.
It just shows that
are a subscriber.
It just shows that Disney is failing, and they're like getting desperate. So they're
and we are arriving back to where we started with all this stuff, which is it's cable but with real time monitoring and analytics tracking. That's the only progress we've made. Is it's easier to monetize you and tokenize you, quite literally.
Yeah.
Fuck.
In other news, Pal World has hit over 570,000 players on Steam after launching, I guess, the official version 1.0.
Right.
So, Pal World is officially at 1.0, and it is, look at that, over 500,000 players.
93% positive reviews, too. Jesus.
It's a huge game. Nintendo, do something. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we got that. Let me see here.
I might have to,
think-
now that I actually have an appropriate PC, I might have to look into
What?
that stuff. I say now that I have an appropriate PC build, I might have to look into doing some Power World
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah. All right, let's look at this last thing, which is what Master Goa sent through. This is Tenchi Galaxy, and it's a Kickstarter. So we're gonna take a look at this. I may have to lower the volume. I don't know if the sound's gonna play though. Let me see.
no worries.
Nope, I gotta like stop
Yeah.
sharing and then like do it over.
No worries.
I hate this thing sometimes, but it's okay. Okay, let's see.
Of the space pirates,
Now we're good.
she's the queen of the galaxy. Hello there, Tenchi fans. It's Patria Burchard, the voice of Ryoko, with another exciting announcement. Thanks to the help of our amazing backers, Armature Entertainment is launching another Kickstarter campaign to create a brand new Tenchi Muyo anime. Tenchi Galaxy is the spiritual sequel to Tenchi Universe and follows the Tenchi gang as they travel to the space pirate homeworld in search of an artifact that was stolen from Jirai. In order to get it back, they must face Nimi, the space pirate queen. What dangers await them? What connection does Nimi have to Ryoko? And whose side is Nagi on? Hiroshi Negishi, the director of Tenchi Universe, is returning to helm this special project.
根岸博です、セーバープロジェクトとゼロ G の方の代表をやっています。で、今回の作品のことに関しては一応監督をやれと言われてますので、そういうポジションでやろうかなと思ってますけど。正直懐かしいですよね。日本でいうとテレビ天地無用、ネギシ版天地って言われてるんですが、多分海外だと天地ユニバースっていうタイトルでリリースされてると思うんですが、そこで出てきてるキャラクターとして、ナギとか要するに剣王京音っていうのが、オリジナルキャラクターとして出てるんですけど、非常に自分として見ても思い入れが強くて、キャラクターたちにもう一回触れられるっていうことに対することに関しては非常に自分として見ても、興奮していました。
Reward tiers for the campaign include a digital download, a physical Blu-ray, a unique steelbook design just for this Kickstarter campaign, and even more for the most dedicated fans. There are also more add-ons than you'll know what to do with. Sticker sheets, posters, patches, an art book, a vinyl
Physical media!
VHS version for a proper 90s
A
Tenchi Muyo throwback.
VHS tape.
All your favorite familiar voices are returning.
We're
and the
definitely bringing
project
that
also
stuff back.
features two
I already
newcomers
talked
to the
about that on
franchise,
another show.
including Christina V as Ayeka and Hololive Advent's devilish diva and virtual idol Narissa Ravencroft as Risa, the space pirate. Here to say a few words about the project is the president of AIC, Toru Miura.
AIC のミラーです。今回このプロジェクトについてはプロデューサーをやらせていただいております。基本的に鹿島君の作った世界をこういう形で、皆さんの前で紹介できるというのは非常に、嬉しく思っております。この作品はいわば、日本のアニメーションの第2ステージ、第3ステージあたりになるでしょうか。非常にOVA という形でオリジナル作品ということで世の中に出て、非常に日本では大きな反響をいただきました。ただやはり、日本のアニメーションが世界中にどんどん浸透していくということの中で、次のステップとしてはやはり海外のクリエイターと共に天地無用の世界をさらに大きく広げていくというのは、非常に作品にとっても幸せなことだと思いますので、この、作品といいますか、この、タームに限らず次の大きな展開を、望んでおりますので、今後とも応援をよろしくお願いいたします。
If this campaign is successful enough, Armature Entertainment will work with Miura and Negishi to develop a full-fledged anime series. The carnival has returned. But how long is it going to last? That's up to you. Thank you for all your tremendous support. Until Till next time.
All right, so they're doing a Kickstarter to bring back Tenchi Muyo. I was never like I watched some of it like when it was
Yeah, I
like
was
a
gonna
new
say, I'm
way back in the day.
aware of Tenchi from
Yeah.
way back when, but I can't say that I really kept up with it.
It's funny though. A lot of old anime are coming back too. Like, seems like this is another trend. This could just be nostalgia, but I also think there's like with the anime in particular. I think there's a number of anime that, for whatever reason, the varying like studios that have put them out are trying to like reproduce them, but do it so that they're more in line with the original manga, or they're trying to at least, right? And
Yeah,
or
I've
at least,
actually.
and they brought back a few so
Yeah,
the
there's
Tenchi
a
project.
new.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a new Ghost in the Shell
Yep,
project
I watched.
happening.
Yeah, I watched
And
the 1st
I've-
episode of the new Ghost in the Shell.
I've heard good things about it so far as well, so that sounds promising. So,
Yeah, it looks like the manga, and even the names of the episodes they match the issues of the original manga. They brought back Ghost in the Shell, Evangelion is coming. Ranma 1/2 was rebooted. The Fist of the North Star is being rebooted. There's another Baki. I don't know if it's like a remake or if it's a continuation, but Baki's big right now. It's very big right now. In fact, they're putting like Yujiro Hanma, the main, I guess you could say he's like the main villain of the Baki manga they're putting him in Tekken, I think. They're gonna make him a playable guest character. They put Kenshiro in Fatal Fury, I believe. They just released him as a playable character, so it seems like there's a lot of like retro shit in anime that's making a comeback. I don't know, maybe anime got too inundated with isekais and like harem anime and stuff, and they're like, well, why don't we go back to formula? I don't know.
right.
So, anyway, we are over time, but let me look at some of your guys' comments and then we'll wrap it up here. I'm not in a hurry to go because Lindsay's home today, so I don't have to worry about rushing off to go pick her up. But we do have a lot of stuff to do today, so let's see what you guys are saying, and then we will wrap it up. So, Master Goa says, I think it's a mistake for them to announce UE 6 so soon. They should optimize UE 5 performance before officially having 6. They still haven't done that. Sin Huenioriega says, I just came from AI radio, artist to artist, would love a live chat. Heaven knows we all need the karma. Yeah, sure. Like, what about? So I don't know. Leave me a message on my video and we'll go from there. Let's see. I love Rebecca though, and Woo-Wah does her justice. Everybody likes Rebecca. Didn't really do much in the anime, did she?
I mean, she didn't, not because she wasn't willing. She didn't because she was just kind of constantly like, she was friend zoned the whole way through.
Yeah, she was the side character that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
But-
get it.
but-
It was appealing.
But Becca's still like, she's awesome. Great
Yeah.
character, though.
I know everybody likes Rebecca.
Yeah.
Toasty with the Mosty says, John can play with me now. What are you guys gonna play together?
We haven't played Ninja Turtles for a few weeks, so we'd probably do that again. But
there you go.
She wants to do stuff in the studio. We gotta work on
Okay.
some things.
Toasty then says, I love Tekken. Yeah, I like Tekken. I didn't get 8 though.
Tekken Tag still probably my favorite.
Tekken Tag 2. That's the one I want to get because I actually never played it. Christy Montiero is my favorite to play as. Oh, so like you button mash. And Master Goa said Isekai needs to go away. It's going out of favor right now, I think. So anyway, we're gonna end the show there, guys. Thank you for joining us. John, what do you got going on this week?
Let's see. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, possibly episode of WTF Live. Will was thinking about doing something today, but ended up watching his girls, which, by all means, definitely always choose that. So there is that possibly tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern on Will's channel, Will the Fans. And it'll just be like pop culture kind of whatever, because so infrequent right now that it's just kind of like there's not. We're going to do movie reviews, but I think that's kind of gone by the wayside. So we might do that, but definitely, if nothing else, you can always find me throughout the week on Toasty's channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Is the primary thing that I do on the interwebs, and then of course here on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. But other than that, though, it was a great conversation today. Always is a great time here. Thank you everybody for taking time to hang out with us. And Rumble's got their new issues now where they want 75 commenters every month. So please, if you can show us no other kind of form of support around here other than just popping in and dropping like an emoji or just a hey, how's it going?
Literally put a comment that just says this is a comment.
Right. That would be more appreciated now, more so than ever, and than anything, because cash donations are nice and everything, but just saying something in the chat means more now than ever, quite literally. But like, shares, follows, all that kind of stuff, greatly appreciated. Always a pleasure being here. And with that said, though, you all have a wonderful week going forward. Safe travels ahead. Of course, be awesome as always.
Okay, well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show today, and share the video because sharing is caring. Be sure to check out other videos on my channel. I don't just do live streams on Saturdays when I do Week in Culture, and I also don't only do playthroughs. Like currently I'm playing Halo 3. I think I'm going to be finishing it like next week probably, and then I'll get into I think Halo 3 ODST, or whatever that is. I don't know what these things are. I'm just going to play them.
Orbital Drop Shock Troopers.
I also have standalone videos that I put out. I started a new series called Know Your Enemy, where I basically do one short video about one Marxist philosopher, one member of the Frankfurt School, or the people that sort of like were downstream or upstream from those people. Today I just uploaded one on Theodore Adorno. If that kind of stuff interests you, I would check them out, and I hope that you would. They're short and they're simple, so not a lot of it's not very fancy, and it lets me like knock it out really quick, and I enjoy doing them, so it's a good little reference. Anyway, with that said, thank you guys so much for coming on this episode of the Week in Culture. We will see you guys next week, and have a good one. Long live Vivian.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be a cunt.
Yeah.
And hateful. And that the games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yep.
Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.